EP collab, man. Oakland Vallejo, the Bay Area, stand up. I'm from that town. She from Vallejo. Said let's collab. She said, okay, we all should play. Hot potato, whoever got the hottest challenge accepted. It's me, I'm the best. Like creative players on hunters, no less. The lines in your forehead just told me you stressing. Got G-O-D on me side, ooh, he blessed me. All these lies they tell it's a vaccine. They're acting it's so bad like it's wrestling. Keep my circle so small it's insane. If you made the cut then you're part of my team. Just like blowing that pint called strikes don't gutter. Attracted to the mind but I like mine's hooder. She gotta have a pretty face too.
Hey everybody, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Happy 420 to those of you who partake. I am someone who partakes. I see nothing wrong with the devil's lettuce is all I will say. So if you partake in 420, happy 420. And, get your going and let's talk some stuff because Love During Lockup is back, you guys. I'm so excited. Love During Lockup has been gone for a little bit of time, just a few months. As you guys know how they do, we get Love After Lockup, which is the original show. And then from Love After Lockup, Life After Lockup was born. And now they do Love During Lockup. This is, I believe, the fourth season of it. They tend to list all the episodes together in the numbering because it's essentially all the same show. But either way, I'm very excited. This is one of my favorite shows on TV right now. It's interesting. It's also different. It's, it gives me something different from them Zeus vibes. I'm sorry to get it, y'all who like Zeus. You can like what you like, but I can't watch people fight for a whole hour straight and then call it some form of entertainment. I just can't. But that is me. Nonetheless, happy Saturday, happy 420. Let's jump into it. So we have 7 new couples. We're not going to meet all of them in one episode, but we're going to meet a good chunk of them. And for those who are unsure, the way that we do things on the Miss Best Reviews channel when we go over these recaps is because there's so many different couples. Each episode, I will just discuss what happened with all of the couples on that episode throughout its entirety because that's easier for me. So let's jump into it, thugs. Let's jump right into it. So we meet Tenny and Rob. I'm not sure if it's Teeny or Tenny, but it was 2 N's, so I'm assuming it's Tenny. So Tenny and Rob are together. Rob is the inmate in this situation. He is serving 18 years, and he has been in jail since he was 18. And I believe he's 30-something now, so he should be coming out pretty soon. He should be getting out pretty soon. But they met. Tenny and Rob met originally in 2006 while they was both in high school. So they are my age. Shout out to us millennials. We need to raise our kids better, but, shout out to millennials otherwise. And they reconnected because Rob is one of these inmates who has access to things he shouldn't have access to. So last season we had Renika and Asante. Rest in peace again to Asante and his loved ones, those who care for him. But Asante was on that BS. He was a person who was incarcerated and still able to have a cell phone and all these things like people just regularly free would have. That, to me, I know a lot of people are like, and that's why he's in jail. And a lot of you people who are, in your mind, rule followers to a freaking T. And nothing's wrong with following the rules. But when you start to attack other people for it, and then you're attacking the wrong people, I'm like, come on. It's not the inmate we should attack for breaking rules in jail, because in my opinion, they're in jail for breaking, the rules of life. It's the COs and the regular people who are probably judging people like inmates who need to be checked, because I'm a firm believer if you work in the jail, right? If you work in the jail, your job is to make sure that these inmates do not have cell phones and cannot, organize things that could impact people on the outside who haven't done anything to lose our freedom or been caught, should I say. But, that's a problem. And they started this show telling us which jail he was at. It's very easy to figure out what jail this person is in. Hell, they could look up Tenny and see, because it's not like a regular jail. These people are in prison. So it's like you can't just go visit them like you would the regular jail. You have to actually put your name on the list, prove you know them, things of that nature. Apologies to anyone who saw my cat jump in the background. Please do not panic. I do have a pet cat. I am next to a window that he likes to sit in. So please don't panic if you saw a creature come from behind. I have my background blurred right now because my husband left the house a mess when he left for work and I'm just getting home. But that was a cat. Don't panic. You're not seeing ghosts. Anywho, here's where the episode got weird. It immediately got weird. Now, Tenny, she seems really sweet, but it's always the sweetest girls who are the dumbest. No shade, but shade. It's just a fact. And it also seems to be the women who have kids already that are foolish enough to get with these men, which worries me. On one hand, I understand it because they just want someone to settle down and, you know, stay faithful to them and things of that nature. Because when you have kids, I feel like stability is more important when it comes to dating versus if you're single, how you can just live your life in whatever way you want. But then at the same time, I think that makes her and every mom on here, you are, I don't care if your kids is fed and clothed and all of that. There's so much more that goes into raising a person. And you are a freaking fool if you think that it's okay to have your kids visiting a man that is not their father, not blood related to them or nothing. You have your kids, not teenagers. You have your kids visiting this man who's shackled to the state's, to what the state wants. You know, personally, I'm not a mom. If I was a mom, and let's say Mr. Best messed up and I had to leave him and become a single parent or something, I don't think there's anything wrong with dating inmates. But when it comes to your children, I don't think you should bring kids to a jail to visit someone or to experience that unless it's their parent. My dad went to jail a whole bunch, unfortunately, when I was growing up. Never visited him in jail. Never did. And looking back, that probably would have traumatized me just a little bit. And for those who don't like my opinion, I also have a professional opinion and a little bit of education that says that that's not good for the mindset and cognitive development of kids. But we're not going to get into that on this episode. Hi, Also Best. Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you for being supportive. It took a lot for me to get on this live, but I am here today. I do want to wish condolences to my good friend Heather and her family. I just recently learned she has passed away. So I want to at least give her family public condolences and things of that nature because it's unfortunate when we lose anyone. But I appreciate you, Also Best. I do appreciate you. And yes, his woman. So stay out of my DMs and emails, creepers. I see them. I just don't acknowledge them. Moving it along, we're going to continue getting back into this episode. So I don't understand why. Thank you, Mr. Osobes. Thank you. I don't understand why she has her kids coming with her to visit him. I understand she wants her kids involved because they're 10 and 8, I believe. They're like kids who are old enough to understand, but not old enough to be in the business or at the jail, in my most personal of opinions. But here's where things get weird. When we see her house, this man is in jail, but she has cameras all over her house. She says the only places that the cameras are not at in her home is the bathroom and her kids' room. Weird. I would prefer the cameras in my kids' room, maybe not the bathroom, but my kids' room, because I want to see who's coming in and out of my kids' room. Because if you was like me, then, you know, you could be, you got a 16-year-old that is sneaking out to go see someone who calls himself Also Best. And that's what I would want to see versus my bedroom. That's a little creepy to have someone watching me from a camera in jail on a phone they're not supposed to have from my bedroom. What happens if they do a check or a sweep on the room and then the COs is able to see you having private time, should I say, because her man is locked up. So I imagine that she's having some individual sexy time, if y'all know what I'm trying to say. 2 fingers and maybe some toys. That's all I can say without YouTube coming at me. But that's weird. That's really, really strange. But in getting to know him, some more red flags. He claims that the COs in the jail know that he is a shot caller. And he's saying this, and the inmates always say this if it makes them look like, you know, like hard or like tough, legit, stuff like that. Like, I am a little bit square, I'm not gonna lie. But, bro, you cannot be a shot caller when you legally don't have the right to call any shots. You can't even say when you want to go to the bathroom. You can't go fix yourself an extra piece of toast if you're hungry at dinner. What shots are you calling? The shots against a bunch of other people who were too stupid to not get caught, except for the innocent ones, because there are a lot of innocent people in jail. But I always hate when these inmates come on the doggone TV screen talking about, oh, I'm a shot caller, so I can have this phone. And the COs, they know not to mess with me because they know I'm a big dog. Fire the COs if anybody working at the jail or who's a snitch or whatever the heck, because I ain't gonna snitch. I'll comment my opinions on here, but the COs need to be fired. Because how are you, as the person in charge of the inmates, allowing the inmate to have control over you and what you do, to where this man has cameras all over a woman's house watching her? That's so strange to me. But I don't care that he's a shot caller. Moving it along, we find out she does have 2 kids from a previous relationship, and they go in the car on their way to visit Mr. Rob, who is Teeny's spouse who's locked up. Now, I don't know if she feels comfortable allowing her kids to see him because they went to high school together. Maybe that's why she's putting her kids in a situation where they have to be on these long car rides and then go into a jail and all of this stuff. I personally feel like it's unhealthy and incredibly irresponsible of her to have her kids there, but I don't want to come at this woman as a parent as a whole. Her kids are fed. Her kids are clothed. Her kids have housing over their head. They have electronic devices, toys. They have all the basic necessities of what a child needs. And then they also have, some extra. Beautiful. But where a lot of people mess up is they don't think of how you're impacting your kids' mental health. And how your kids' mental health is impacted impacts the rest of the world when they get older and how we can tolerate them or whatever. You don't believe me? Go talk to a therapist. You don't like what I'm saying? Go talk to someone who has the same degree or more knowledge than I do. But it's a fact. It's not just what you can give them, keeping them from getting touched on, things like that. You also have to be careful what you're exposing them to and make sure you explain it appropriately. This is not their dad, and I think it's going to make them think that it's okay for them to go to jail because some foolish woman is going to pack her kids into her SUV, drive hours up the state or into another state to go visit somebody for less than 4 hours. Like, there's no way I'm about to look that goofy to my kids unless it's their father. If it's their actual father, fine. If not, nah. But that's a thing, and I've been seeing that on the Facebook groups, in the public groups for Life After Lockup, Love During Lockup, all of it. Like, I don't think anybody is okay with the fact that all these moms keep coming on these shows, putting their kids in homes and situations where they're with inmates that half the time they don't end up with because they don't cast as good as they used to in the earlier seasons when we had Andrea and Lamar and Brittany and Marcelino. Like, they took their time casting. Now I feel like people is just going on pen pal sites, finding inmates to talk to, and then they're like, hey, put me on the show. And it's like, we know it's not love. We know it's none of that. Moving on. Rob tells her while on the way to visit that he got something to tell her. And I hate when men do this. I hate when people do this. If you have something to tell me, just tell me. Just tell me now. Don't have me waiting hours for the news. If you have something to tell me and it's so important that you feel the need to warn me, you got something to tell me, then just tell me now. You could have been like, take me off speakerphone. I don't get it. So anyway, the kids seem okay. She does the visit. He doesn't end up telling her his secret. He's going to be released in a few weeks. So I'm guessing she'll find out in a few weeks. But Tenny seems sweet. I can't say much right now, but based on her children and her, she seems sweet. Like, she has a lot of love to give. Beautiful chocolate sister. Love her to death. But I don't know. I think her sweetness can also cause her to get into some trouble. It just seems like she's blinded by love and not seeing some things that she needs to pay attention to. Like, if he was messaging you from the jail, who else is he messaging? I mean, hell, if your man's in jail, that should be the one time that you are not worried about other women. But with how they started to talk and him being a big shot caller, as he calls it, I don't trust it. And I'm worried that he might hurt Tenny. That's just my personal opinion. Moving on, though, to the next couple that we're going to meet. Be sure to like the video if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys. We're going to discuss Andrew and Candace. Andrew and Candace remind me, who was it last year? That couple, that lady who got out of jail and got with the guy who had his kids and the wives. I can't remember their names right now, but it reminds me of that. I feel like Candace is with him for money, and I'm going to explain why after I get through this. So we start off finding out that Andrew loves to spoil his partners, and he is a warehouse supervisor. Warehouse workers, all you women out there, like, he needs to be a lawyer. I need to chase a bag, all that dumb stuff. You better go stand your black self or whoever you are, whatever you are, outside of a factory like Tesla or We used to have Newly here in the Bay, but you better go stand out somebody's factory, whether it's Pepsi distribution for socks or whatever, because they are paid well to be up in there doing that factory work. I can tell you that. But he says he likes to spoil his partners with his factory money. And he says he's found the woman of his dreams in Candace. The woman of your dreams is in prison for burglary. That's concerning. Now, she's in prison for burglary. She steals. That's what she does. She steals, she cons, whatever the heck. That's what she does. Now, I don't know why he wouldn't think that he should like keep his income to himself or anything like that, just based on the charges. But that's what makes this show great. A lot of the people on here do not cross their T's. They're not dotting their I's like the rest of us do when we try to date someone. Hell, even when you cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure the Q is kicking back, you still could date somebody who's problematic, who's not in jail. So to go for somebody in the jail is just like, oh my God. But that is what Andrew has done. Luckily, thus far, there's no kids involved. We know he has a child. He pays his child support, but his son don't live with him. So I'm curious to see how the mother of his child will feel about all of this. But they've been talking for a year, Andrew and Candace. Candace is the one in jail, and we find out he is setting up an apartment for her. He lives in New Jersey. He owns his home, but he wants to set up an apartment for Candace in Las Vegas for her to live at until she could come to New Jersey, because you have to get those things approved. If you watch this show, you know you have to get these things approved in order to parole or release or all of those things. So I'm just like, that's a lot to be doing for somebody fresh out of prison. I would have been like, hey, babe, find a room to rent. I'll pay your rent for you. But I'm not about to pay your whole rent, electricity, water, food, like all of these different things. Like, that's crazy. He also bought her a truck and spent $15,000 on it. He's been divorced twice. And he says that the reason he's been divorced is because women demand money from him. How do you say in one sentence, Andrew, my love language is spending money and spoiling my partners? But then all in the next sentence, the reason that your last marriages, not marriage, but marriages failed is because they wanted money from you. They demand money for you. I don't know if y'all men don't know this. There's memes on the internet, probably people you could talk to, but your woman's as soft and as gentle as you treat us. If you put us in the position from the beginning where you just give, buy her everything she wants, all types of things like that, you can't get mad at her for demanding money later. That's what she's used to. However, women, relationship is give and take, back and forth, for better or for worse, for rich or for poorer, which I struggled to say when I did my wedding vows. But what that means is you could get with a man and he have something and later on end up with nothing. That's where those vows come in, is you're going to stick beside him, as they say, and vice versa. I got with my dude. We were very young. He had nothing. We broke, sleeping outside, went through homelessness. Now he's providing the laptop, the internet, the house that you see behind me. I'm dropping things, but he provided all the stuff here. So my point is, that's where the for richer, for poorer comes. You can't just base everything on income or materialistic things, as they say, because that is something that can change constantly. Even people who are rich. I'm sure that Diddy's youngest daughter may have a different type of settlement or inheritance than the other kids, because he's losing all of his millions by the day, they say. So things can always change, no matter how secure you think that you are. That's why personally, I feel like it's better to love for love and not for money or material or monetary things. That's just my personal thing. But Andrew has not learned from his mistakes, clearly, is my point. I have concerns he'll be used, because it seems like he doesn't know how to show love without offering to buy something or doing something. Some people are like that. I can be like that at times, but then at the same time, you have to know how to balance and show love to people regularly. So he's prepping for her release, and he decides to go see a financial counselor or a financial advisor, whatever you want to call it, which I think is wonderfully responsible. And the financial advisor confirms that he's making $3,400 per pay period. Sounds like he's paid bi-weekly. So he's making about About $8,000 a month after taxes and deductions and things like that comes out. But from that $8,000 a month, he has a $1,300 mortgage for the house he's living in currently, electric, gas. He has his own vehicle. He financed that truck. So he said $15,000. That's the price of the truck. But he financed the truck and is a $759 monthly car payment. If it costs that much for me to drive a car, I'm going to hop my black ass on the bus with a smile. Because you have to get into it. Like, especially living in California, I know that they try to do that a lot with car rates because people a lot of times here will have their credit messed up or no credit at all, just trying, to do stuff. And that causes your APR to fluctuate with interest. Luckily, we have caps here in California, so it's very rare that you'll see an APR that's like over like 27%, unless you just like really effed up your credit. But this is what he's doing. I don't know why. He must have done no down payment, because your down payments also, I used to sell cars, you guys, for like 6 years. So your down payment usually offsets the amount that your monthly payment is going to be. It's good faith, but it does also impact your APR and things like that. So if you do a $1,500 down payment on a car that's $15,000 in total, then you finance it. Let's say your APR is 15%, which is kind of high. You're going to be looking at, instead of $15,000 in total, maybe paying $30,000 to $40,000 potentially. And that down payment, $1,500 from the amount that's financed, it impacts you. So I'm just like, he had to have just rushed and got the car with zero down payment, which people can do, but it doesn't always get you a small car payment. It's usually when you're leasing. But he obviously did not see the financial advisor before getting that truck. And he's also going to have to register the truck and do VIN verifications and a lot of stuff to switch the state for the plates, because you can't just have her out there as a fresh felon who's out driving a car that's not in her name with plates from another state. That's like asking to be pulled over by the police. Is asking to be pulled over by it. I'm also concerned because homegirl is in Vegas, and I feel like Vegas is a place of temptation for people who know how to follow the law and stay out of jail, let alone for someone who has her record. So it's a little interesting. But this fool is stupid. His financial advisor told him, stop spending money. You're broke. Like, he's making enough to pay his bills. It's called paycheck to paycheck. But if anything happens, an emergency, his car breaks down, he breaks a leg, I don't know, anything happens, he will be screwed, because he makes too much probably to get state aid, like food stamps and welfare in the form of cash. But at the same time, he's not making enough to cover all these bills. Here's the kicker though. If he's not paying for her, he makes plenty. Her rent costs more than his mortgage. I would have told that bitch, I love you, but you got to figure it out. We could come together and we could live together and do all the things that we need to do as soon as your parole is over. But we've been long distance now, so we just gonna stay that way. You can prove your love without doing all of that. He could have saved money on the truck and all the extra stuff and just been spending money to visit her once a month by plane. I guarantee that would be cheaper than what he's trying to pay for, because that's just the rent and stuff. She's going to need gas for the truck, insurance for the truck. She's going to need food in the house, all these different things. And it just doesn't seem like Candace is doing anything to help. I'd be like, well, babe, don't worry that you have to pay for food, because when I get out, I'll qualify for food stamps. Like little stuff like that she could do, but it just don't seem like she's willing to do it. It's just, oh, thank you, baby. Oh, yeah. And don't forget to get this. I hate girls like her. She knew who she found. And honestly, I don't even fully feel bad for him, because he put himself into the situation. I wish I had a clown emoji or something, because he's looking like a clown, and not a class clown, because a class clown has some education because they're in class. He looked like he missed class, did not pay attention to class or any of it. He just worried about the ass, not class. And I don't like that. But he gets out of the financial advisor who advised him, you're stupid, when she could just come live with you anyway. Why spend all this money when she's just going to come to you eventually anyway? That makes no sense. And, you know, he talks to his lady. She calls and he explains that he just got out seeing a financial advisor. She gets mad. Who gets mad at their spouse for seeing a financial advisor? Tell me who and tell me why, please, because that means you're trying to secure our future. That's the thing. Like, some women be so stupid. They'll be, ooh, do he got the newest pair of J's on? Is that the most updated Apple Watch? What kind of phone he got? What he drive? What this look like? No. The man who's going to have the money usually isn't going to be flashing it, for one. And then for two, the man who's going to keep you in a good financial space may say no sometimes. There's sometimes I want stuff bought or to go places, and Mr. Best is like, no, we can't afford it. But if he's the income, then that's what it is. And usually when there's a no, later on, I'm like, oh, I see why that happened. So she's just mad that he met with a financial advisor, which should not be a threat to her at all, unless she knows that she's having her partner pay for and do too much. Why are you mad at a financial advisor, Candace? Inquiring minds, we'd love to know. So far from that relationship, Andrew and Candace, I feel like they're not going to last. I feel like she is a gold digger, and I'm not going to be able to judge this properly until she is out of jail. Remember, this is love during lockup. This is not life after lockup. This is not love after lockup. This is when the person's still locked up. Now, sometimes when the season ends, because they'll go into love after lockup, we'll get to see some of these people on love during lockup released, like we saw Asante and Renika and all the things that happen with them. But that's not always guaranteed. I hope that we're able to see this with her. I didn't quite catch how long that she'll be in jail. Comment if you caught that part. But it sounds like she'll be getting out soon if he's looking for the apartment and stuff. And I would love to see them on love after lockup, because it's clear as day that this lady is using him. It's clear as day. It's clear as day. And I'm actually for love after lockup. Y'all should not pay the inmates until they've at least completed a full season, or there should be something to, because they shouldn't just be getting paid when half of them sometimes are scamming the person. Renika and Asante are a good example of that. We don't need more people. No shade to Renika. We don't need more people coming on this show who are just dumb and ignorant. I'm sorry, dumb and ignorant. She thought that wig looked good, but we don't need people coming on the show who like have all the red flags in front of them and are just ignoring it when we know that this man has 10 and 12 other women that they're talking to. Like, I want to see couples that actually have a shot at making it. It's just what I prefer. We're going to move on to the next couple. Live replay gang, what's good? We may not be live no more, but I still appreciate you guys for watching. I always try to acknowledge you and remind you that life, you are the reason for my season and why I continue doing what I do on these YouTube streets, because it is so hard when you are new. Everybody wants to subscribe and interact with people who have a whole bunch of subscribers, and I don't have it. I just got 500. So please like the video, share the video, subscribe if you like what I'm saying. We are consistent. We do these recaps week after week after week after week after week. And if you have a suggestion for a show you want me to recap, across the bottom of your screen right now, you can see Mrs. B3ST Reviews at gmail.com is where you can send questions, suggestions, and things like that. Those who want to donate or offer support in the form of cash and things like that, the info is there for you as well. Let's jump back into it, y'all, and get into our next couple, Ayana and Jamal. This was, okay, so I'm seeing two things. People are saying that Ayana or her stripper friend was on Jocelyn's Cabaret, which is a show on Zeus. I do not watch the Zeus network. In my opinion, it's a network full of unhinged people who are functioning alcoholics that just refuse to tell the truth about their drinking struggles. And I think a lot of the people who watch the network are too, because I don't see or relate to any of it. I think past 30, though, if you're watching Zeus, I'm looking at you with a side eye. I'm just saying. But Ayana is supposed to be with the inmate Jamal. She is a stripper. I believe the first we've had on the show, but she says she's done with stripping, even though she's stripping. I don't think she's done with stripping. Jamal is going to be coming home in less than a year, and she basically met him in the most foul way that you could. She is going to prove every negative stereotype about strippers true, and I apologize in advance because I'm going to try not to read this girl, but I'm probably going to because I don't. She has stripper mindset, is what I'll say for now. Jamal's coming home in less than a year, and the way that she met Jamal, who is who she's doing the show with, that's her love interest, is he was dating her best friend while she was friends with her best friend. And she says, and refers to the best friend now as an ex-best friend, she says they all lived together in a house. And she said that she and Jamal had a connection back then. Let me stop her right now. I want to know what happened with the friend. And why did you break girl code? Stripper or not, you're not supposed to date the men of your friends. And y'all both, and we later find out in the episode that she did end up getting to it with her friend. I'll go over that later. But y'all really arguing over, I'm sorry, YouTube, I'm going to curse. Y'all arguing over a nigga that's locked up, over a nigga that don't know how to make money without being caught, over a nigga that don't know how to get a job or even try to do stuff legally, over a nigga that don't have nothing special about him or even look extra special. I need this man to look like Idris Elba, Morris Chestnut, and every fine brother from their prime. I need him to look like that in order for me to be fighting someone who's supposed to be my friend over a man. You fighting over dick that you can't get to. Use your brain, ladies. Use your noggin. I don't know if the perm done seeped into her brain and impacted her way of thought. I don't know if she's been upside down on the pole so much that her thoughts just don't come at her correctly, but use your brain. Mind you, I have friends who are strippers. I am not judging strippers. There's nothing wrong with being a stripper. If you got to strip to make your money, then strip to make your money. Fine. But it's strippers like her that give them a bad name. Makes no sense. So they all live together and she's stupid. How do you expect for Jamal to be loyal to you when you just said you discovered that you two had a romantic connection while he was dating someone else and you were in the house? So he's just having, if he'll do that to her, your ex-friend, what he'll do to the ex is what he'll do to you 90% of the time. So I don't think that this Ayana girl is thinking. I don't think she's intelligent. I don't know what's wrong with her. The only thing she knows how to do is count dirty dollar bills. But she gets a call. We see her stripping, and the strippers, like, they were all cute girls, but they didn't look like the strippers I would be used to seeing, if that made sense. And they looked a little dirty. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so sorry. They looked a little dirty. The last thing I want to see is a stripper in a fake Louis Vuitton bralette that their titties don't fill out. I don't, and I love strip clubs, y'all. I really do. I really do. But I wouldn't go to that one. Yeah, I just wouldn't. Maybe that's an East Coast thing. I am from the West Coast. So a lot of strip clubs I've seen have been either Texas, which is Southwest, or Vegas. The Bay has a horrible stripper scene, trust and believe. Horrible. The worst that you'll ever see. They look like they smoking the stuff that they smoking on the streets of San Francisco. But yeah, they don't look like that. So I don't know. She gets a call from her public defender. Now, I know people are going back and forth online about this because I was like, why is the public defender calling you and you stripping? That's weird. That was very weird. And it sounded like their first phone call or something. Public defenders work from 8 to 5, 8 to 4, 9 to 5. I've never heard of public defender, public pretender do better. I never heard of them calling people on the off hours. And that's when I would assume that's when you're in the strip club. They're usually not open at the crack of dawn. So I'm like, you just got off stage. You was bouncing that, and then you got a call from your lawyer. Why is the lawyer calling you at those hours? So I either think the call was fake or she might have been at an earlier shift because some girls will strip a little earlier, lunchtime, things like that. It could have been something like that. Whatever the hell, the reason she's getting a call from the lawyer is because Ayana has legal troubles herself, and not just the one we're going to discuss. So she is in trouble currently because she got a DUI Happy 420, you guys. She got a DUI for smoking weed. So be sure that even though it's 420, that you do not smoke and drive, because they will for sure give you a DUI even if you are high. They can give you a field sobriety test even if you think my eyes don't get low. They can't detect me. There are tools now for detection. As things become legal, they're going to find a way to catch that ass. That's what's going to happen. So she got a DUI while driving high, which to me tells me she's a really bad driver. Listen, I'm not going to incriminate myself on this channel, but if you're getting a DUI while driving high, unless you're high off crack or something, if you're just smoking weed, how bad of a driver are you, sis? How bad? I'm just saying, people in other states too, especially states without mountains or near flatlands, don't drive the best, oddly. I don't think they're used to the turns. I be seeing people rent cars coming to SFO and they get on 580, they see a little turn and they're freaking out. So I don't understand that. But to me, she's probably not a good driver. She got caught. But she got caught with the DUI for smoking weed, which is stupid. I don't know why she didn't lead with that either. Like, when people get in trouble, they always like to tell you like a bunch of extra stuff you don't need to know. Like, okay, yeah, I got arrested and they said they smelled weed in the car. Girl, if you don't just tell the truth, you was smoking in the car and got caught, because how else and why else would you have a DUI for weed? You are a shame and this is a lack of service and representation for us former potheads. Because I smoke and I just can't see why you would get a DUI for smoking weed. Like, were you driving too slow? But it sounds like the weed was in the car and she got caught. No shade, something that stupid hood bitches do sometimes. I'm just amazed she got caught. But she finds out she's not going to be able to avoid jail time. And the reason she's not going to be able to avoid jail time is because this is not her only charge. In addition to her DUI for driving high, she also has charges from what I could get from assault. Because she said, and she's just ignorant. You could tell she acted like the worst definition and stereotype of stripper out there. Because how you gonna say on national television while you're trying to fight a case, yeah, I had to go beat my friend up because she popped my tires because she was mad that I was with Jamal. Jamal's who she's on this show with. Remember, I was saying, y'all, girl code, you don't date your friend's exes. Though I know a friend who had a whole baby with my ex and then tried to be my friend in my face and all types of weird stuff. I'm trying to tell you, people are crazy. You do not break girl code and then think that you have an argument. You don't do that. You just don't do that. You don't. You think that you have a right to beat this girl up because she slashed your tires. She flattened your tires because you was with her man and y'all's connection started while in her house with that man. I would have slashed your tires too. Better the tires than your face, ho. I mean, what do you expect? This is how you know. This girl needs to go to a different show. I don't know why she's on Life After Lockup. No shade to Renika and Asante. I feel like they lowered the bar. I don't want WeTV to start casting Black couples, Black women, Black men, and they be what Ayana or Renika and them were. It's not always like that. It's not always like that. I feel like that can misrepresent African-American people. But then at the same time, if they don't act like this, what will the show have to do? So I'm just annoyed with the whole situation. But I feel like I don't feel sorry for this girl at all. You took her man in her house while you were supposed to be her closest friend. And now you're doing a show about it and you caught a case for beating her up because she flattened your tires. Did you see her flatten the tires? Did you see her do it? That's what I want to know too. Did you see her do it? If you saw her do it, then shit, I call my insurance company and casually give a name and let them go to the op. But if you did not see this girl flatten your tires and you know that you stole her man while you were supposed to be living in her house as her best friend and roommate, you can't seriously expect for anybody to feel sorry for you. So then you go and you fight her around a bunch of people because they played some of the video. WeTV is ghetto. Not them playing from back in my day when somebody got in a fight. I remember I got in a fight with this girl. And all I saw was like little flip phones, Kyocera's and the Motorola Razr phones. World star. Like, this was back then. And that's what people did. But I was 15. This is someone not 15. I think once we get to a certain point of adulthood, we have to find ways to fight our battles outside of our fist all the time, even if they're good. Now, here's the thing. I'm not a full square. Somebody talk about your family, as husbands. If somebody talk about my husband, Mr. Best will tell you, I don't care if you're a man or woman, you get smacked. If somebody talks about husbands, children, family, parents, whoop on them. If somebody steal all the money out your bank account, you can't pay your rent, and they stole it, whoop on them. But if you lie to your best friend while living in her house with her man and start sleeping with her man and then get with him and then apply to be on a show with her man, I'm sorry. You should have got more than just your tire slash. So I don't really feel bad for Ayana. What I'm going to say is she is facing 15 to 90 days in jail. She's done substance abuse courses. They make people do this, I think, at every state. Dang near, you get in trouble for that. Go to your little DUI classes. She's done that part, but she's still facing 15 to 90 days in jail because she has a prior case, which it sounds like they gave her leniency on because she beat up her best friend because she decided to date her best friend's man. So, and I would never let her live her that down because these girls on our TV screen expected people to feel sorry for her. What am I going to do with my kids? Where am I going to put my kid? Did you think about your kids before you ran up there to take off on somebody publicly? Just wondering. Just curious. And if you make it $600 in a week, sis, she says she makes about $600 a week, right? Let's do some math on Mrs. Best Reviews. Let's do some math. $600 a week. There's 4 weeks generally in a month. That means she's getting a minimum of $2,400 in a month. You're not even making a lot of money stripping. Sis, move to California. In California, you could flip burgers, all fast food place, $20 an hour minimally. Do you know what that'll make you after taxes and fees come out? $2,400 a month. And you're in a state where rent is cheaper and all these things. So I'm like, you stripping it for what? You're not even making the big bucks to get out of there. You need to go to Atlanta and audition for Magic City because she had a fat ass. She had a bright future behind her, but I just can't. Ayana, do better, baby. I'm going to give you a chance because this is the premiere episode, but I'm going to say this to you. Do better. Do better. Because nobody is going to feel sorry for a stripper that stole her best friend's man and is now facing time away from her kids because of things that were entirely preventable. If I have a previous case or if I have priors, I'm not getting caught with weed in the car. I'm not getting caught with nothing. Do better. You have children and you have something to lose. They have something to lose in you. Do better, sis. This is not, I know people are saying they saw her and some of her friends on Jocelyn's Cabaret. This is not Jocelyn's Cabaret. People snorting coke and wearing wigs is not watching you. You need to do better. You need to do better. I don't want to see nothing else about her case and all this stuff. I'm tired of it. It was a hot ghetto mess, and it was honestly a little embarrassing to watch. But if that's what she want to do, that's what she want to do. May she change. And for those like, oh, she's young. She says she's 27. She was supposed to be done stripping, she said, at 24. She's still going. That tells me she don't manage her money right. She's not. I know strippers. I have close friends who stripped to literally obtain their degrees and their accolades and the things that have helped them to not strip. So you can do it and be about your money and do it right. But I don't know what she's doing. She's stealing men that have nothing and fighting her friends when, girl, I'm sure somebody came in that strip club with some dollars who you could have finessed instead of having a man who's in jail and broke and can't do anything for you. Make it make sense. Better choices. Hot Mess Express is what they are. Moving on, y'all. We are getting to the last couple of this episode. We got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 couples. It looked in there. It's supposed to be 7, so we should get some more couples next week. Like the video if you haven't already. I appreciate you. We are going to get into Joey and Michael. Joey and Michael, shout out to the LGBTQ plus, I'm going to say plus for the IA and whatever else community. You guys are starting to get much more representation on television shows, to commercials, to reality TV. Just you're getting more representation. So accept it, be grateful for it. And I love it because this is interesting. A gay couple is on this show. Weird, weird, very weird, especially with the stigma and supposed stereotypes about prison. I'm not going to get into all that now. If you know, you know. But Joey and Michael are our first LGBTQ couple on Love After Lockup. No, Puppy and Amber do not count. Joey says that he did not come out until he was 30 years old. And this is the person who is free. He says that he's still learning to navigate the gay scene. I assume dating, things of that nature. My good friend James, who I do recaps with, is gay. And he is someone who also didn't come out until he was later in his adult life. And he also states that is different going from women to dating men. He says it's different, which I believe it is different. But it's our first gay couple on the show, and Joey's living with his parents. He's been living with his parents for 10 years. He does have a job. It sounds like he went through some stuff, which we learn about later in the episode. But Joey lets us know that he's a bottom and that Michael is a top. Okay. He says that because I guess Michael has high sex drive, higher than Joey. And Joey's like, well, all I got to do is lay there or bend over. So I guess that makes it easier. I didn't really need to know that. Gay community, I love y'all, but you don't hear heterosexual people saying stuff like that. Oh, I'm on the bottom and he's on the top, or I sat on it this time and not that time. Like TMI is a thing. It doesn't make people homophobic. I don't need to know who's bent over and who's not. Okay? Keep who's folded to yourself, whether you're gay or straight. I don't care. I don't care. If you want people to know, there are websites where you can upload your intimate moments and people can watch and see them for free. There's the OnlyFans. And I'm sure there's some other stuff as well, but don't need to know that. Moving it along, they haven't been able to see each other at all during the tenure that Michael has been in jail, because you can't see people in jail without proving that you know them outside of it. And they can't seem to prove it because they have no pictures together that they can find. They've met each other, slept with each other and stuff when Michael was free. But, you know, it's one night stands, probably fun night outs. You're not always thinking of taking a picture. It's not like the new generation where it's like, oh yeah, we out to eat. Are you eating your food or are you taking pictures? It's not like that. So it sounds like, that's been an issue for those two. They want to try cropping a photo using AI or whatever it may be to crop a photo of the two of them to make it look like they do know each other so that he can visit. Here's my thing. Joey's wondering, like, if I'm caught, will I get in trouble? And I was kind of wondering the same thing. I was like, I don't know, Mr. Joey. But if your gut is telling you, if your gut is causing you to take a second look, a second thought, to pause, anything like that, listen to your gut. I believe our guts guide us in the right direction, even when everyone or everything else is guiding us in the wrong direction. Listen to your gut. Nothing's wrong with that. But the worst case scenario is that they could shut down contact. He could not be allowed at the jail. He could also end up catching charges himself, depending on the state. So he talks to his dad about Michael. And I loved his dad because I know a lot of people in the gay community, especially, African-American men or men of color, even outside of African-American as a culture, they struggle to tell their fathers that because it's more taboo, if that makes sense. Like, people are getting past it. So it's just nice to see his father so accepting of his situation as a whole, not just of him being gay, but the fact that he is gay and choosing to be with someone who is locked up. His dad, we learn, is a recovering alcoholic. And we also learned through his dad that Joey is a recovering alcoholic and a recovering drug addict who has been on his sober journey for 10 plus years. So congratulations to you. And I wish you the very best with that, Joey. Anybody who struggles with drugs, we need to celebrate them when they're not doing drugs, and it just makes them feel loved so that they don't feel the need to go back to them. But his dad and his feelings of concern were realistic. Michael could be a drug addict. We do learn that Michael has a secret that he's hiding from his family. That's the person who's locked up. And I'm wondering if it has something to do with substance abuse. But thus far, it does look like I have concerns about Joey and Michael. I want to know if Michael's gay for the stay. I know that he said he did stuff with men while out, but will that be the same? You know what I mean? Like, if you have friends of that community, you understand some people will pull that gay for the stay stuff. And even sometimes when they're not in the stay, because no one's really just gay for the stay. But I don't know. I feel like there's more to Michael that we need to find out. There's definitely more we need to find out. I want to see this couple on Love After Lockup if they work out and last through the season. And the reason why is because that comment I made, gay for the stay, it is not meant to cause harm or to throw any negative stereotypes or anything towards people. But some men go to jail and men have needs. And so for their stay, they will be the top. Some of them will be the bottom. That's all I'm going to say. And I know that can be problematic sometimes for when they get out, and that translates to the real world. So I do hope that this works out for Joey, but at the same time, I also have concerns. Again, it's episode 1, and these people are getting together in situations that are just entirely unconventional. They're not the situations that most people would go through. They're not the situations that most people would choose. But you have to say and think like, well, maybe these people in their minds really are in love. Sometimes couples see stuff that we can't see and it works out, you know, and other times it doesn't. So I'm curious to see. I'm very excited that Love After Lockup or Love During Lockup is back. I can't wait for Love After Lockup. Life After Lockup, I love, because that's when we get all the tea on what's really been going on. But I'm happy to see a bunch of new couples. I hope that they last, because if you go through what these people have gone through, waiting months, sometimes years for your loved ones to be free, you know, that sucks. So you do want it to work out for people. If you have, I'm an empath, so I always feel for everybody, but you want it to work out for them, because if it was you, you'd want it to work. Anywho, we have reached the end of this recap video. We will be back next Saturday. We will be here every single Saturday, you guys, to be going over Love During Lockup. We also are adding a new show from the OWN network. It is known as the Never Ever Met. It's a dating show on the OWN network that I will be recapping. Other recappers recapping it. Shayna_MCD. She is an African-American recapper. My sister is Spirit on the East Coast, who also recaps some of the same shows that I recap. You can also check out Watch Your Mouth Reviews. I do lots of Bravo reality show updates on that channel as well. I appreciate you guys. We'll have quite a bit coming. We'll have a green screen coming soon. So when I do this, you don't see it all in my face. I'm going to get a green screen very soon, y'all. I appreciate all the support. Be sure to watch the Be Money, Be Manifested interview if you are one of my subscribers who are here for our music content, where I do music reviews, music reactions, and interviews with the upcoming artists. And maybe soon, some people from the Love After Lockup realm I'll get into interviewing. But we are going to have a lot of growth and new things coming to the channel. As always, be sure to like the video. We appreciate you. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, just look at the bottom of your screen and you will be able to contact me if you want to do so outside of the comments, have a question, request, or any of those things. So we're going to end our video listening to music of Oso Best because he funds the channel. This is his song, Delo, which is partially inspired by your favorite Gemini host, Mrs. Best. And I will see you guys a little bit later. Love and light to you all.
I gave her the low. I gave her the low, man. I gave her the low. I gave her the low, man. She coming through, yeah. It's up so bad. I got the love, she coming through. She's a diamond. I thought I fucked no room with the fight. Let's put our differences to these sides. Let's go. You need a nigga like me, don't highlight. I got the love, she coming through tonight. No room to fight. Let's put our differences to thy side. To the side. I raised you up, don't you lie. I'm not a hustler, I'm out the way. Me and no bitch, girl, don't even play. Why would you say that? Get out my face. Can't do me, Alice, don't move in like that. Here's your cup, I got one unchained on chill. The really full of Seville. You know I don't roll, I just smoke. I got everything you need, I'm the whole like birthday and lobster, surfing, turning and work for nada. That's for certain. Can't let our clothes out, closely blind. My friends on, I'm diving tonight. What I did back then ain't right. Forgive a lie. Words whisper, I know, don't preach. Don't speak from me, soon you'll see. I got the love she coming through. She's a 9 and 5. I'm tryna fuck, no move to fight. Let's put our differences to the side. Let's go. You need a nigga like me, don't lie. I got the love she coming through tonight. And so, no move to fight. Let's put our differences to the side. I raised you up, don't you lie. If you're down with me, do this one time. Put my name on your back on the couch. I need to see whose it is when I bend it. After a few trials, I'll cop you up in bed. It's just sign again, please remind me. Open place in your mind, so I don't say nothing. And we just think, do it. And I can choose a friend. Someone who's so smart. Why I fuck with you was good. Hold on. I'd rather fuck with you than any lady. Cause too many busy be talking to heaven. I got the love she coming through tonight. I thought I fuck no move to fight. Let's put our differences to the side. You need a nigga like me, don't lie. I got the love she coming through tonight. I'm trying to fuck no move to fight. Let's put our differences to the side. You like the way I raised you up, don't you lie.